We've talked about the Ottomans, we've talked about Russia, and today we talk about France. The French will be seeing some massive changes with the coming 1.35 update for Europa Universalis, and I am going to quickly cover the development diary released today for you guys. So buckle up, this one is gonna be spicy. So France got a bit of a rework in Emperor in the 1.30 patch, but they want to update it to make it kind of more up to snuff with the other mission trees coming in this patch. According to the devs, this is going to be paid DLC, but there will be a lot of stuff coming for free in 1.35, like the idea groups that were teased in a previous dev diary. This mission tree is going to be absolutely huge, with 84 new missions, dozens of new events, mechanics, decisions, new monument, government reforms, and a new subject type, and we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. A new look at the top of the new French mission tree, and you can see there's quite a few branching missions. Top left corner is obviously going to be 100 Years War and, kind of overcoming that obstacle and, getting France started on the right path. And 10 permanent power projection early on is going to be a huge boost for France. A lot of people don't know how important it is to have big PP early on, especially early on. The right-hand side of the tree will be for Provence, and according to this, you may even be able to make them a very powerful subject if you can get them to like you enough. And if you don't subjugate them and you conquer them, you can get some AE impact, which 15% is pretty good, especially when you consider that after this, you're probably going to be heading into Italy. So a little bit of AE reduction would be very nice for that. And if they're already your subject, you just get a little bit of a bonus, which is really good. So honestly, all three paths seem viable. And reading through this is actually when I got pretty excited. The Ducal Lance of Avignon is a very important part of the experience, as it will let you decide the fate of a considerable part of your campaign. And this is the portion where I think this is really going to kind of allow you to broaden your horizons and not just play France a specific way. Because everybody who plays France plays conquest, and like just take everything over, try to get a world conquest. But that's not going to be the case, at least for everybody in this coming patch. We can align ourselves with the Pope and basically get buffs for us and them, or we can deny ourselves alignment with the Pope and get a conquering. And if we do align ourselves with it, we will not conquer land on behalf of ourselves, but on behalf of the Pope. And if we do it for the Pope, we will be able to get them pretty buffed up. If you align yourselves with them, it looks like your king will be coronated by the Pope, giving some very nice modifiers. And otherwise, you can kind of militarize the society and gain some bonuses for that. But it will evolve and grow over time depending on how you fill out your mission tree. For example, if we do not align ourselves with the Pope and we have the Golden March modifier, you will gain an extra 5% governing capacity on top of what already has up here. And if we can keep it real with the Pope Man for long enough, we'll be able to make them a march, and we will not get the opinion malice for vassalizing them. This path will take you down, expand the French domain, which will seek to consolidate all of Italy under either you or the Papal States. And you can just see that no matter what path you go down, you will be getting a modifier that is going to be pretty solid. You can basically get a Kingdom of God Battle Pope March with extra discipline. Like, that is awesome, dude. And if you decide to go it alone, you'll get 5 admin efficiency, which, assuming you can do this by like 1500, is going to be really impactful. And it's not just Italy that gets this treatment. The same thing applies to Iberia, where you can either take Iberia for yourself or make a friend down there and kind of feed them the land and consolidate their power. So if we or a subject own at least 15 provinces, otherwise you will get a modifier. And keep in mind that none of these modifiers or colors or literally anything are final. This is just like a teaser of what they've been working on in the past week. And of course, when you're dealing with France, you're going to have that big blob off to the east, and there is going to be a way to deal with it, being the heirs of Charlemagne. You will be able to very strongly contest Austria's emperorship. And you can see here, this option will lead us down a path to reclaim our position as the heads of the Holy Roman Empire with new dynamic missions and rewards. That's pretty good. And if you can get some electors on your side, you will lose AE with members of the HRE, as well as get some bonuses to envoy travel time and diplomats, making it even easier to take the emperorship. So how many of you guys are gunning for Emperor of the HRE as a very strong beefy France with Kingdom of God, March in Italy? This is going to be a fun one. And you'll be able to give Austria an ultimatum. And of course, they're not going to let you have that. The AI will never abdicate, but they can get a CB on you, and they will actually get hurt with their relations of all the electors, basically making it even easier on you. So it's like a huge diplomatic insult on them. And of course, why not another restoration of union for Austria? Assuming you're playing Austria, it might be good to kind of let France do this, because these malices are going to be bad. You can overcome them, and a PU on France would be massive. And of course, the tree would not be complete without a customary Beat England path. And with London calling finished, you'll be able to get a permanent claim on Great Britain. You'll rename London to Londres, and the capital will be renamed to Domine Français, or however that's pronounced. I don't speak French at all. Regardless, the Tower of London will grant supplementary benefits to our absolutism and zeal. That's good. And if the Isles are conquered in their entirety, France will indeed rule the waves, getting some naval bonuses, which is hilarious. And an alternative option would be culture conversion and concentrate development without losses, which sounds broken. Concentrate development is a tough one to balance because when it first came out, it was busted. You would see provinces with like hundreds of development. It was insane. And of course, a little bit of flavor, renaming the channel to La Mancha, or however that's pronounced, and giving some trade bonuses because if you rule the waves, you should rule the trade, right? And a new modifier, max number of flagships. That could be incredibly powerful, especially if you're able to stack the modifiers. I don't know how that'll work, but I'm curious to see how it goes. And now on to internal management and flavor. The new subjects will be called the appanage, or however that's pronounced. And essentially, they're going to be much more powerful, but also much more decentralized and taking power away from France rather than basically making France exclusively stronger. You can see they want them to feel like a threat to French dominion. And Burgundy will also be able to interfere in a meaningful way, getting French subjects' liberty desire above 50%. And if you can reliably beat up on France, that would be good. Because in AI France, if you just let them go, they will dominate. Even more so probably in this coming patch, considering the fact that those modifiers are really powerful. And some flavor missions, getting yourselves a little bit of siege ability and some extra cannons, because why not? The French love their cannons, don't they? One of the ways to complete this mission is to have Jean Barreau win several times on the battlefield. All my homies love Jean Barreau. Jean Barreau is the guy who gets most people opened up for Big Blue Blob because he is crazy and has like 3 siege pips in 1444, which is like unheard of. More flavor events for construction and development, army professionalism, and of course historical buildings and universities, getting some nice bonuses as well as innovativeness and mana per province. So these dynamic rewards are really cool to see. Basically, the more that you invest into it, the more you get out of it, which I always appreciate. And something really interesting that they're doing is they're basically trying to give you 2 different Frances to play: pre-revolutionary and post-revolutionary. Pre-revolutionary France is going to be focused more on feudalism and not necessarily being super militaristic as they were after revolution with Napoleon, but more focusing on gaining that domination, gaining that centralization. So they're going to get a new tier 1 reform that is exclusive to the French government, giving them bonus income from vassals, but obviously the nobility are going to be extremely influential. But it will be overwritten when they are able to finally get the absolute monarchy enabled, and that will give them tons of extra development if they centralize a state, which is going to be pretty good. It may actually motivate people to centralize states more. And this one is pretty interesting. Every admin advisor will henceforth grant 5% governing capacity modifier per level. So if you have a level 5 admin guy, you'll have 25% extra governing capacity, which is going to really help out for wide play. And I mean, it will be essential for a world conquest later on. And of course, the French need to get the French Musketeers, a new unique unit type, 10 fire damage, and it will be able to be up to 50% of your force limit, according to this dev diary. You unlock them via your mission tree, kind of like Sweden. And since you'll be getting the Musketeers, you don't need them via a age objective thing. So what they're going to do is they're going to change it so you get max effect of absolutism, which is going to be a new modifier. More flavor events on reformers like Colbert, giving an interesting variety of results depending on how you complete it. And of course, different paths depending on whether you go Catholic, you reform, or you go somewhere in the middle of the road. Various modifiers that you can get via either going court and country or avoiding it. So if you play it right, you might be able to get 10 admin efficiency just from missions alone, which would be the most in the game. Because as far as I know, you can only get like 5% from Prussia, 5% from Germany. I think you can get 5% from Italy, maybe. Obviously, you can stack it if you form more nations, but 10% from one tag is really good because France is not an endgame tag. The French Industrial Revolution giving dev cost and goods produced. I wonder if that's a flat amount per province, which would be pretty nice. And of course, the revolutionary content. And I like this because the author here, I think it's Big Boss, I might be wrong, I'm not actually privy to who wrote it, but as a player myself, I understand it's difficult to stick to a campaign, and at times it gets less fun the later in the game it goes. So basically he's trying to buff up Revolution, make it as much flavor as humanly possible to incentivize the player to play that late. Napoleonic Warfare giving artillery combat ability and movement speed. Yeah, if you want to go fast and you want to blow some people up with cannons, that's the way to do it. PP from creating client states, so that's an interesting concept. And I said 10% was the most. Now apparently 15% is the most admin efficiency. Going a little overboard, but who knows? And this part is really cool. Depending on who you conquer in the Peninsular Wars, you will be able to get powerful tools ripped straight from the national ideas of the countries that you conquered. For example, 10% morale of armies based on Spain. And you'll be able to create client states in that area that will be a variety based on the color of your nation. Like, look at that, dude. That's gorgeous. Napoleonic Spain has a ring to it too. All powers cost, and reset the golden era. So 100 years of golden era, going to allow you to get some various things for the elite or Revolutionary Guard, but it's also going to make the Revolutionary Guard reforms mutually exclusive, so you can't stack them up and just have these Space Marines. Not like you wouldn't already have them from France plus the Musketeers, but you know what I mean. And very interesting, France is going to get their national ideas reworked. They're going to have pre-revolution ideas as well as post-revolution. So early on, they're going to be more focused on Diplo and manpower, and they're also going to get dev costs for their finisher. And Elan has been nerfed by 5%, but instead they get army tradition, which may actually end up being a buff, to be honest with you, because 0.5 army tradition a year is very solid. They're still going to have the discipline, and they're actually going to get 10% core creation cost built into the pre-revolutionary tree. Revolutionary France gets siege ability, which is really nice. I love siege ability. Inno offensive, probably my favorite combo of idea groups in the whole game. 10 years of nationalism is fire. That is absolutely busted. That's -5 unrest in every province you conquer for the rest of the game. And Elan has been changed, so it's not just 20% land morale, it's actually morale damage as well. And this one right here, friends, this one right here, Napoleonic Tactics is going to give you military tactics, meaning they've removed it from the tech, and you'll be able to use it in idea groups, which is going to be a big deal for modding as well as just the game in general here. And 20% core creation cost, so safe to say France is probably going to be the strongest tag, and I was excited for the Ottomans, but now France is going to be crazy as well. Honestly, Russia last week was crazy too. All the majors are looking super good. What's your guys' favorite so far? Next week, Pavia will be speaking with us about content for Iberia, and I am absolutely itching to read about it because I know we're going to be reading about some tercios, lads. If you're not already subscribed and you want to make sure you're keeping up with the dev diaries with me, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and a huge shout out to the patrons who keep the channel going, get early access to videos and exclusive Discord benefits using the link in the description. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, stay chill.